Good evening, and welcome to Bridges 2020 Fall Fundraising Virtual Non-Banquet. My name is Jenny Lynn Olson, and I'm the Executive Director of Bridges Pregnancy Clinic and Care Center. We are so blessed that you're a part of this evening's event. And tonight you're going to hear about the giants we're up against and the mountains we've conquered. You're going to hear from Liliana Grace, who we've been working with over the past few years to get our name and the services provided into the hands of those seeking answers. I'm also going to share with you some of who we've seen in our clinic during the past 8 months. We have something special to share with you tonight, so sit back in the comfort of your own home and enjoy this presentation. Welcome to Bridges Virtual Non-Banquet, first ever. Thank you so much for taking the time to be part of this event. And if you would just think of me as being in the room with you, sitting across the sofa, and having this conversation, it'll make both of us feel a little more comfortable. So tonight we're going to come together for one common cause, one goal, and one purpose. And that is to empower women to choose life in our community through the ministry of Bridges. Over the last 8 months, we've had over 480 visits to our center. And this is during the shutdown of COVID and the latest of the evacuations with the Walbridge fire, rioting in front of our center. As an essential service, because we are a medical clinic, we've been able to remain open through this pandemic, which has been such a blessing. And now more than ever, we have seen how vital it is for us to be a voice of hope and truth to those finding themselves pregnant. We've seen women come to us during the pandemic who are scared to death at the thought of being pregnant during this time. And we've seen women so full of fear as they contemplate the future. Loss of jobs, loss of income, uncertainty in relationships, and just everything that we've all experienced at a different level. Our staff and volunteers have had the opportunity, the privilege, and the responsibility to be able to speak into each of these lives. And we've been able to reassure them that they're not alone and that they can do this. We've been able to share the love of Christ and the hope that's in Him with them. And tonight we're going to do things a little bit differently. Normally we would have a client share her story with you in person, or we would record it. And I could not find a client who was willing to share their story and be recorded for various reasons. And so they were more than happy for me to share their story with you. So that is what I'm going to do. In addition to the client stories I share, we're going to have a partner of ours, Liliana Grace, share her heart with you as well. And so first, though, I want to share a few client stories. So we've been able to walk alongside and minister to women like Julie, who, after being told she could never have children, There's no way she could get pregnant. I found out here that she indeed was. So she was in a stable relationship with her boyfriend, and he had grown sons, so she wasn't quite sure what his response was going to be. We offered them an ultrasound, and they saw their pregnancy at about 7 weeks along, and they were absolutely overjoyed. And then the questions began to come. Their jobs were uncertain. They didn't have medical insurance. She didn't have medical insurance. Couldn't afford prenatal care. She was here from Europe, and they had never had a conversation around parenting because that wasn't even a possibility. So over the last 6 months, we have seen them for all their prenatal care here, and they've enrolled in our classes through Bright Course, and they have completed over 50 classes, which has allowed them to earn the car seat, the stroller, the pack and play that they need to set up for the baby. She's come in here monthly to get maternity clothes. They've gone to the baby boutique and picked out cute little clothes and blankets for the baby, gotten diapers so that they are ready for this birth. And they have repeatedly thanked us over and over again for our support, for the care they've received and the knowledge that they've gained, which has equipped them, and they feel confident to parent together, and that has been such a blessing to them. That's a mountain conquered. We changed the trajectory of a couple's story. Another story is that of Molly and her boyfriend Jack. They came to us in altogether another different situation. They scheduled an appointment for an ultrasound to find out how far along the pregnancy was so that they could schedule an abortion at a center that performs abortions. So they were already determined that they were going to end a pregnancy. So they came in here. We had them meet with one of our advocates, and they were shown all of their options. It was a conversation that they had, and they were reassured that no matter what they chose, we would walk with them. They were then offered an ultrasound, and after seeing the ultrasound images, they left undecided. Our team was notified by the medical clinic staff about the couple's possible indecision and asked if we would all go to prayer together around this, knowing that this is indeed a spiritual battle. And lo and behold, due to an error in paperwork that we made, we contacted this couple and asked them to come back in so that we could correct some paperwork. And they returned 2 days after their initial appointment here, and they met with our clinic manager to correct the paperwork, and then there was a conversation around their options and their choice once again. This lasted almost an hour, and at the end of the conversation, they verbalized that they had decided to choose life for their unborn baby. And last week was their first prenatal care visit here. And I can't tell you the change in their countenance and just what a difference a couple weeks made. This was such a miracle, and this is another mountain that was conquered, and this is why Bridges exists. In addition to providing pregnancy tests, ultrasound, prenatal care, we also offer resources, and we've offered resources to over 150 women during this last few months who needed resources to better care for their little ones. At a time when so many are struggling to make ends meet, we've been able to come alongside those who are courageous enough to choose parenting, even though they know it's going to be a struggle, and they've come here for encouragement, prayer, practical needs have been met with diapers, formula, baby food, clothing, and that's so much a part of what we do as well. It's not just, oh, you're pregnant, congratulations, glad you chose life. It's after that we continue to engage with them and we continue that care. And for those who have an abortion in their past or childhood sexual abuse in their past, we've been able to transition our support and recovery classes to a Zoom format so that those women who have been brave enough and vulnerable and honest about their past have been able to experience the healing, the new beginning that God wants for each of us and the wholeness around that. And we've seen some really wonderful change happening in women, even during a Zoom format. And then in January, we had just launched our online classes through Bright Course, which allows us to send classes to clients online with homework, which then allows them to earn equipment that they need. And so we have had over 82 women participate in those classes and some men. And one of the stories around that is a couple who wanted to earn a stroller, so they had a numerous amount of classes that they needed to complete in order to earn a stroller. Well, the mom started listening to the classes and watching and finishing her homework, and then all of a sudden the dad inquired about what she was doing, and he started watching the classes alongside her. Well, a couple weeks into it, she was asked to go back to work outside of the home, and the dad was to remain home. Well, because of the parenting classes that they participated in, he voiced that he felt totally confident and equipped to stay home and take care of their infant. And the mom shared with us what an amazing transformation had taken place. Culturally, it is not something that normally happens. The dad does not stay home and take care of the child. The mother is always the caregiver for the child, and yet he was feeling equipped and ready to make that transition and break away from the cultural norm for them. And so they were very grateful for the classes that we were able to provide for them. That's just one of the many stories around the classes that's happened. So that's just another service that we offer here at Bridges. And I could go on for days sharing stories about the hundreds of women and men who've walked through our doors, but I also want you to hear from a broader perspective, and that is from Liliana. She and I have worked together over the past couple of years, and her specialty is in marketing. And she's been really instrumental in helping us get into the hands of the girls and the women who are making those decisions, the social media interaction that they need during the time that they're asking the question, am I pregnant? And so tonight she's going to share an insider view about the current battle we're in and just a broader view of really what we're up against. And so here is Liliana Grace.
Good evening, and thank you so much for choosing to join in on this virtual event to learn more about Bridges Pregnancy Clinic and Care Center. My name is Liliana Grace, and I've had the honor to be able to work with Jenny and the clinic over the last few years on their marketing and their digital footprint, including a new website, education information on there to be able to help connect your clinic with the resources available to women in your community. You know, beyond that, I'm just a girl who loves this generation. I believe that they deserve information about the choices that they're making as it relates to their body, especially as it relates to an unplanned pregnancy. So what I do is I study them, I learn them, I watch this culture, I see what social medias they're into, I watch what shows they're watching, not always because I enjoy them, but because I want to know what's going on in their world. What are they seeing? What are they hearing? What are those messages that are being taught to them? As we know, most of this generation isn't a church-based generation. It's a broken family. It's a screen-based education culture where what they're learning and engaging with their friends, everything is based on what they're seeing in the screen and through digital relationships. Some of the research I've looked at, it also shows high numbers, 70-80%, will make decisions based on what their digital peers think is acceptable or not, even though they may have never met them. Our kids are having relationships with people they've never met. I've talked with women who are in relationships with guys that they've never met. And it doesn't mean that they aren't having intimate conversations and interactions through the screen time. They absolutely are, yet they've never met. I also encounter women that are making decisions about who they're going to date and who they're going to sleep with based on a dating app or what list of requirements it fulfills or how they feel in that moment. The reality is we live in a very, very different world today than we had 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and certainly 20 years ago when I was in the dating scene. So it's important to stay relevant and to stay culturally relevant for me so that I know how to connect your clinic with those women and men needing your services, needing love, needing affirmation. In the state of California, over the last month, we saw 32,000 searches for abortion in similar search terms. This means women and men are searching for options around an unplanned pregnancy. In your city alone, we saw over 400 searches. That equates out to a little bit more than one every hour. The reality is women are searching, men are searching. We do live in a country where they have been given the opportunity to choose abortion, to choose parenting, to choose adoption. But definitely they have been given the choice for abortion. That may look like a chemical abortion, which has become the most popular over time, which includes the ability to order it and do it at home. That may be a late-term abortion. Wherever it's at, what we believe is that women need to know that they have options. They need to have education. They need to have information. And organizations like the Pregnancy Clinic here in your community, Bridges, is offering that. They're offering love. They're offering a safe place to land for women who are facing an unplanned pregnancy. The reality is right now, while we're having this event, there are women that are looking at 2 lines on a stick and their entire world just came crashing down. It is the last thing that they expected to have happen in their life. And they're going to do what most do, is grab their phone, start searching, start looking, talking with their friends, researching their options, looking at what's available to them. And they're going to need information. The reality is, choice is theirs to make. But information is something they're going to have to seek out. Someone who will listen to them and care for them is something they're going to have to seek out. These women need to know that they have options. They need information like how far along they are in their pregnancy. They need information to know whether or not it's viable. Is it one? Is it twins? They need to know these things. They also need to know if they have an STD or other things that could create a complication. They need to be informed about their options. They also need to know that if they took one of the 2 abortion pills, that it's not over, that there still might be hope to save that pregnancy. These women also need to know that they have options so that carrying their pregnancy to term is possible. They don't have to do it alone. Even if mom or dad or the boyfriend or the guy from the one-night event is no longer in the picture, they can do this. They need that love and they need that encouragement. Bridges is an amazing organization that is providing this free medical and social services to those in your community. And while life is all about choices, they have come through and defined for women that they have many, many choices in facing this unplanned pregnancy. So I'd like to share with you a little bit about what's happened over the last couple of years with Bridges from a marketing perspective. We have updated the website. We have added new content, things that can help educate and inform these women as they're searching. We've added new creative marketing tactics to get right where the women are at while they're searching. We're showing up in their social media platforms. We're showing up on Google, often on the first page of Google when they're searching for abortion options and information. The reality is we are in a cultural war. And we are not just in a war about what they're going to do when they face an unplanned pregnancy. It's beyond that. It's the identity of every man and every woman when it comes to their sexual identity and what their choices are going to be as they enter into the dating scene. As I've really studied and researched this culture, I found some things that are extremely disturbing to me because it's not the way that I grew up. But even though it pushes my comfort zone, that doesn't matter. My being comfortable is not what this is about. It's understanding that they are talking about words like swipe right and swipe left. They can, order up kind of what they're looking for. If it doesn't work, it's like learning words about ghosting. Ghosting is the complete disrespect of another human being, to not even follow up or have a conversation with them at the end of a date or a sexual experience. You can do some research on that and you will find that therapists are beginning to identify that this is worse than a breakup, because the person has absolutely no idea what happened. It seemed like things were going well, be it 1 date, 2 date, 3 dates. They were intimate with this person. Then that person leaves. Because of this dating culture and because of this sexual experimentation that's constantly happening and the damage to a psyche as they get brokenhearted over and over and over, it's no wonder that abortion would be that next natural thought in their process. Women and men are tossed around in this low value culture that not only encourages, but praises her decision to sexually experiment as long as she's responsible. Should she get pregnant and do the next right thing? Responsible being defined as a positive pregnancy test turns to an abortion. You see, often abortion is seen as an empowering moment in their becoming a woman. Even if she wanted to keep it, the voices all around her in culture are saying, just get rid of it. There's no need. This isn't your time. You didn't want this. Just move on. You'll be fine. Just take a pill. It'll all go away. This can go away. The reality is, we know that it never goes away, that it sits in her decision with her the rest of her life, whether she chooses life or she chooses abortion. Abortion clinics and procedures are now commonplace in the TV shows and the movies that they're watching. On TikTok, there are countless videos of women going in for their abortion day as if it's something to be celebrated. This has become beyond socially acceptable and it has become normalized. I've even had women that I know share with me that they would choose abortion over adoption because that was a more responsible thing to do in their thinking. That it very similar to putting down a dog or a cat or a pet, if they couldn't care for it, the next humane thing to do was to have the abortion. That nobody would be hurt and it's the best way to love their unborn child. When I asked them about adoption, they said that's not being responsible. No one else should have to take care of their child. It's their decision, their child, and to love their child the best, they would choose abortion. It's a very interesting perspective. And the reality is it isn't us to judge, it's for us to love. It's for us to realize that they are in a culture where sex does not equal love. It does not even equal like. There's no correlation between that. Men and women are getting their hearts broken day after day. Everything is laced with order taking and positioning, the list of what you want, what the other person wants. It's a swipe right, swipe left mentality. Not interested in the first date, you never have to talk to them again. If you tried out sex and they weren't your perfect partner, just ghost them. You never have to talk to them again. It's self-serving sexual culture is what we're in. And abortion is the next natural piece in that. So what do we do? What do we do in that? When words like body count, ghosting, polyamorous, and cougar become this new language, how do we talk with men and women? How do we show and share them that there is something different? I would suggest that it starts with love, it starts with information, and it starts with the medical services that they need when they find themselves in a point of need. Services that are available at Bridges Pregnancy Clinic Center, Care Center, right here in Santa Rosa, California. And your support of this organization helps us fight this cultural war that we're in. It helps us communicate to women that they have more to offer than just a one-night sexual experience. It helps us communicate to them that they are loved, that they are carrying a life, and that things don't have to be the way they've been. When they come into the clinic and they experience this love and they get to see an ultrasound of their unborn child and they get to see the options that are available for them and they get to experience wonderful people who say, we'll walk with you, we'll get you through this, you don't have to do this alone, we'll connect you with the social services. What do you need? How can we love you? How can we serve you? That is truly being the hands and feet of Jesus. That is truly being the kingdom here on earth. And that is what Bridges Pregnancy Clinic is all about. I work with countless numbers of organizations around the country. And what I can promise you here is that what I found in Santa Rosa, California with Jenny and Bridges is a group of people who will not quit. They will not stop. It doesn't matter if it's a pandemic. It doesn't matter if it's fires that are trying to burn the city down. It doesn't matter if the schools are closed. It doesn't matter. They've made a commitment. They're what I call lifers, not pro-life people, but people who are in this for the rest of their life. People that are in this with everything in their soul, that they want to see women have an encounter with love and realize that they are carrying a child and that there is hope and that there is a future and they will not be stopped. Jenny and her team at Bridges is good ground and good soil to invest your time, your talent, and your treasure into. And make no mistake, this war we're in is huge. The opposition is spending millions and millions of dollars. I've done the research and I won't bore you with the facts and the numbers. Jenny and I talk about those month after month, about the dollars that are being spent, what the message that's happening. And we look at how do we best utilize and be a good steward of every dollar that we have to communicate our message of love, choice, options, and hope. The reality is we don't have millions and millions to put into marketing. But like David won against Goliath, we are faithful with what we have and what we've learned and what we do. And there is an opportunity. And just like these women have a choice, we all have a choice. We have a choice about what we're going to do. Are we going to get involved? Are we going to do our piece? Are we going to do our part? Are we going to pray for this ministry? Are we going to pray for the women that come in? Are we going to give? We're all part of the body. We all have different talents and things that we can bring, right? Some are the hands, some are the feet, some are the eyes, some are the nose. We all bring a different piece, but together we make up the body. And together we're part of the solution. Regardless of what the laws are, we have a responsibility to love and educate women and treat them with respect and dignity that they are not seeing in the world. And through this clinic, your community is doing that. Your community is different. Your community is better. Your graduating class in the next 15, 20 years will be larger because there are more lives that have stayed in Santa Rosa that could have been another statistic or number in an abortion. Your choice makes a difference. So I ask you to consider, in the world that we live in with all of the choices we have, what choice will you make? Tonight when you go home, there will be a girl every other hour looking at what her options are for the fact that she's sitting in her bathroom looking at 2 lines on a pregnancy stick and knows something. She needs something to help her. She needs someone to tell her it's going to be okay. And I ask you, will you be part of those who create an opportunity with a solution that she can say, wow, look, Bridges, maybe they can help me. Because of your support of this organization, she's going to be able to learn, get education, information, and be supported in making a good choice. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Thank you for sharing that timely message, Liliana. Some of it's so hard to hear, and yet we know that each day we have the opportunity to share the love of Christ and His truth with our community. And each day we fight as His warriors in this battle for life, knowing that fully well it's a spiritual battle that's been waging since the beginning of Genesis. And we're up against some significant giants, as you heard from Liliana, giants who could overwhelm us with one well-aimed blow, giants who have more resources, more manpower, and more cultural backing than we do. Yet we know that God's called us to stand with these and for these men and women to make sure that they have the opportunity to hear the truth and the hope that can be found. And that is, life was created by God and begins at the moment of conception and is a gift. And we are so grateful for the support we've had, the financial backing that we've had from partners like you that have continued to allow us to minister to our community, to affirm life in our community. And especially now when so many are looking for hope, for truth, and for answers. And you're a vital part of this ministry, and we need you. We need you to be in this battle with us. And so tonight I'm asking you, will you support the ministry of Bridges, whether for the first time or as an ongoing partner with us? We need you in this fight for life. We need you to stand with us as we continue to go against what is culturally being accepted more and more, which is being celebrated, and that is the right for abortion and the right to end life. We need you to stand up against the giants. So following is more information on how you can partner with us, and if you want to have more of a conversation, I invite you to reach out to myself or the staff. And again, we thank you so much for being a part of tonight, and we look forward to what God's going to do through the ministry of Bridges. So God bless you, and good night, and thank you so much.